Welcome back to the Global Goals Studio, where we're talking about migrants, refugees, and the workforce. Father Leonir, according to a new study from the New American Research Fund, nearly half of all Fortune 500 companies were actually founded by immigrants or their children. How do you focus your negotiations with governments when you're talking about receiving immigrants in that light?
Yes, considering the shared responsibilities between the government, the private sector, and civil society organizations, including the Catholic organizations, with the receiving countries' governments, we are discussing how to provide a better governance for migration flows. And our negotiations with them, with the governments, are focused on three main aspects: the definition, the implementation, and the monitoring of policies and programs to protect and promote human development of migrants and refugees and the hosting society. So at the national level, for example, we have been negotiating with the government's legal channels to provide the private sector to provide them legal channels in order to regularly hire migrants and refugees. And on the other hand, providing the migrants the regular channels to be hired and to be integrated in the private sector. At the international level, for example, we have been engaged with the religious congregations with the process of definition of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, or the Global Compacts on Migrants and Refugees. And currently, we are actively engaged in the implementation of these United Nations processes. These are examples of promoting the integration of migrants, not only as people who need protection and support, but as main actors of development, as you mentioned. Yep. Many of the companies around the world are established by migrants and refugees. And from this perspective, the Global Solidarity Fund is supporting the advancement of these dialogues, these innovative dialogues and negotiations for an inclusive economy in which migrants and refugees are included as main partners, not only people who are in the distorted perception sometimes they are stealing jobs. No, they are providing jobs. They are providing enhancing the economy.
Yeah, and talking of partners, Rebecca Marmot from Unilever. Unilever, obviously a multinational corporation. You've got a footprint all across the world. How is Unilever leveraging its resources in this area?
Well, you talked a couple of minutes ago about some of the new commitments that we made last week. What we've tried to do is to think right the way across our whole ecosystem, so all the different touch points. So we said that we want to ensure that everyone who directly provides or delivers goods and services to our company earns a living wage or a living income by 2030. We're going to spend $2 billion annually with suppliers owned and managed by people from underrepresented groups by 2025. So looking at how can we bring smaller and medium-sized enterprises, perhaps refugee-owned enterprises, into our supply chain. You mentioned we're committing to help equip 10 million young people outside of our business with the essential skills to help prepare them for future job opportunities. So that's really about skills building, thinking about work experience, thinking about the kind of skills of the future that people will need. So massive ramping up, for example, on digital capabilities. And I think when you look and you think about how we can do that, particularly trying to help to hire refugees, it's a huge opportunity for us to benefit as a business. We're very lucky to have worked with groups like the Tent Partnership for Refugees for the past 3 years. We can hire refugees into our business and they bring a brilliant perspective, different kind of skills, really important for us to be able to provide employment and livelihoods opportunities, but also for us to benefit from that. For example, we have what we call the Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream Entrepreneurs Network. We run that in partnership with the ICE Academy, so providing employment and entrepreneurship programs, helping refugees integrate better in society and access economic opportunities. So we've trained up refugees who've come into countries in Western Europe to work within our business. We've also benefited in other ways. For example, we've recruited special language refugees to help us in some of our customer call centers. And then we've tried really hard through the power of some of our brands to actually encourage more of a conversation around that. So, for example, Ben and Jerry's launched a special Cone Together flavor ice cream last December to really try and get that conversation going. It was hosted by the UN in Geneva.
That's a great point. Patrick McGrory, last word to you, just briefly, beyond the basics of food, clothing, and shelter, what's the one thing that can help marginalized people find stability today?
Yeah, bringing together what was just said, I think it's a simple answer. It's good jobs. Father Leonir touched on the inclusive economy. That really is the key to improving livelihoods for people, especially those who are most vulnerable. And we know that good jobs leads to improved health outcomes and better social integration, ultimately stronger communities. And the Global Solidarity Fund, we're focusing on creating good jobs, improving private sector partnerships, and really improving the lives of the migrants, refugees, and immigrants all around the world. So for those businesses who are interested in these types of opportunities, the Global Solidarity Fund may just be a good fit, and we can continue the conversation.
Well, it's vital work. Thank you for doing it. And thank you for being here with us today. Patrick McGrory from the Global Solidarity Fund, Father Leonir Chiarello, and Rebecca Marmot. Please stay with us. You're watching the Global Goals Studio.